Good morning, everybody. This morning I'm going to show you my EDC. My EDC is a Glock 45 Gen 5. And when somebody says my EDC, if you don't know what that means my everyday carry. You always treat every firearm that you touch as if it's loaded. It always needs to be cleared first. I'm going to show you the 4-step breakdown on this EDC. 4-step process of cleaning. I'm going to keep it very simple at first, and then we're going to move from there. The Glock 45 Gen 5 is a hybrid crossover between the Glock 19 and the Glock 17. Basically what that means is the lower portion that you grab is a Glock 17. It's a full-size handle. The lower is a full-size lower where your hand attaches the trigger area of the hand, the palm, where it all makes contact. The slide that goes back and forth that chambers around after you pull the trigger is a Glock 19 slide. It's smaller than a 17, easier to EDC, everyday carry, but the lower being a 17, because the 17 is larger than a 19, gives you more real estate whenever you go to put your hand on it and actually grab it. Keeps you more accurate per se. Let's switch over to the firearm and I'll show you how to break it down. Here, this is a Vault. Some people, Vault Pelican, USCCA has their version where it has like USCCA in the center of it. This is a 15 round magazine. This is not a clip. This is a magazine. The reason it's a 15 round is because in the state of Illinois, they decided that concealed carry people throughout the state can only have 15 rounds for a handgun. So this is a 15 round. If you look at the back here, it goes all the way up to 15. If I had 17, would I be legal? But if I only had 15 bullets in it, would I be legal? No. It has to be a 15 round magazine. And there's some gray areas. Like you go to Chicago. Chicago says if you carry in Chicago, there's certain things you can't have on your firearm. You get like lasers and stuff like that. I think you can have a light, but you can't have a laser. And if you have a 15 round magazine in Chicago and get pulled over, do you think you can get in trouble? The answer to that is yes, you can. Chicago has an ordinance that says 10 round magazine, but that's if you're like a FOID holder or something like that, or that's a local city ordinance, I think. I think it's more of a city ordinance thing, but because I have a concealed carry, that means I fall under state legislature, state law. And the state says 15 rounds. So technically I actually have the Illinois code that justifies carrying 15 rounds in Chicago, but 9 times out of 10 the officer's not going to know that. He's not going to know the law like that. So I'm going to have to get taken in. I'm going to have to go to court. I'm going to have to defend myself. Or if they just take the firearm, seize the firearm, and I have to go to court on it, then I'm going to have to prove my case to the judge and say, well, if you look at Illinois Code US.67- whatever it is, I'd have to look. Let me get the exact code for you. So the exact code is it's Illinois Concealed Carry Act, and then it's in Section 9, and it will actually differentiate between what can and can't be carried, and it's 15 rounds in the state. Well, Chicago falls in the state, but they're going to try to take you to court for it, and then you can defend yourself by justifying that, which more than likely they're going to find in your favor. So anyway, we're going to take this out. We're going to put it on the mat here. This is a Glock 45 Gen 5. So Glock 5, it says, or Gen 5, Glock 17 Gen 5. Sometimes it's hard to find mats for this hybrid because it's a cross between two different firearms. So I just got to go with what I know makes sense. And this breakdown here for the Gen 5 is pretty much the same anyway. You just have to know the difference between a 17 lower and a 19 upper, and then find your parts that way. Maybe if you're a new person, I wouldn't suggest getting a hybrid. The reason I got this is because there's some upgrades made to this. Let's take it out and I'll talk about those upgrades. So I'm retrieving my firearm from the case. Anytime you take a firearm out, you want to clear it. you notice I grabbed these serrations and my hand was over the top or in the back. In the back you'll do palm into the serrations and then fingers over to the other side. Clear that way. I like to clear from the front. And then your slide lock, hold it back, and there you are. Clear firearm, nothing in it, never pointed at yourself. If you want to release this slide, a lot of people will take this here, this little lever, and they'll rack it down. This is a slide lock. This is not a slide release. You can actually cause issues if you use this to release this slide, and a lot of people don't do it. They think it's cool flipping that release and watching it chamber forward. That's not how you do it, because look at, you see where I'm at right now? If I release this from this position right now and I had to chamber around, I've still got more spring pressure back here that I can use to chamber that round, which is safer than losing spring pressure. So if you look, I've got a little bit more real estate back here. I've got more spring that I could be using to chamber the round. So if I'm going to chamber the round, I go like this here. I had more spring pressure to help push that round in there. I'm taking some of that spring pressure away by just flipping the slide release. I've lost some spring pressure there by doing that. So really what you want to do is you want to lock it to the rear, and then when you're ready to chamber around, you grab the back of it here and you let it go. It will chamber forward. Normally when you run out of ammo and you're shooting, it will lock to the rear anyway, and then when you go to put a mag in it, sometimes it will slide forward. At that point, that is a live weapon. That is a live firearm. It chambered itself whenever you put the mag in. Sometimes most of the time it will stay to the rear, and then you'll have to grab it and let it go. So, anyhow, Glock 45 Gen 5. Some of the upgrades that they made to the previous generation is they got rid of there used to be like these finger grooves where you'd put your fingers in here. People didn't like that because they couldn't put their fingers where they wanted it. It was trying to tell them this is where you need to put your fingers, and it felt uncomfortable. Then down here they dovetailed this slot, so it's easier to change magazines. It's more of a smoother transition. On the front here they gave you some serrations up here because it used to be smooth. Well, there's some serrations up here so you actually get more area to grip. You know, if you wanted to peek and make sure you know it's been a while, it's been loaded for a while, and you're trying to swap your ammo out, you want to see if it's loaded, you can actually peek check, go like this and peek down inside there and see if you got a round in the chamber. I don't know that I'd be putting my hand here. I might do something like this, grab the back of it, peek check that way, or if I had my hand, if I could make a conscious effort to keep my finger out of the trigger area and have my hand pitched up all the time, I could peek check and see. That's just my way of doing it. You don't have to do it that way. And then one more thing that they did is they angled and, I don't know, dovetailed the front right here, so in and out of your holster it's more of a, if it hits the front, it's more of a transition than hitting something that's solid. On a Glock, your finger is the trigger, or your finger is the safety. The safety is right here in the center, this little finger thing. So this on the outside, you can push it all you want, but if you're not pushing that centerpiece, that just fired the firing pin. If there was a round in there, it would have went off. So the centerpiece right here, this little thing in the center, that's the only safety that is on a Glock. Some people don't like that. Some people like the flip safety back here, or the slide safety here, or some weapons actually have 2 or 3 safeties. So in this instant, if this was locked in like this, how you take this slide off of here is actually you pull down on this little, there's like a little 3 bump release lever right here, and a lot of people don't know that if this is like that, or let's just say you pull back a little bit and then you go to pull down, you have to pull back on the slide just a hair. You have to pull back just a little bit. You see how I'm doing this with the front? You have to pull back just a little, then you can pull down, then you can release your slide. But why is it not Why won't it release? That's because it actually has to be, you have to let the firing pin go. And it just moved forward just a hair, if you notice that. Let's do that again. Watch the slide. It moved forward just a hair. Now you can. This can be tricky if you're not familiar with doing this. So you can take the slide off of here. Now that the trigger is released, pull back a little. Too far. I triggered it again. Pull back just a little. Slide the little lever down. Slide forward. Then you got this spring in here. If you want to know what the spring is called, you can go over to your mat and see here. The spring is number 3. It is called a recoil assembly. This just needs to be wiped down. It doesn't really need to be lubricated too much. It just needs to be wiped down. I like to spray a little bit on it and then dry wipe it off, just so it doesn't rust up or anything. Here's your barrel. Your barrel, I like to keep like a nice film of oil on it. Look down it if you want. You see there's like a twisty rifling inside there. That needs to be cleaned out extremely well. Here's your lower. This unit needs, I like to keep a little bit of oil on these contact points. It's not as severe with a Glock because a Glock is really easy to maneuver. And the Glock only has 4 contact points, so it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. I got these long Q-tips. I actually ran out, so I ordered some. They're on the way, and I'll show you when I clean this thing. I take these long Q-tips and I get down in here and I clean all this out. So here's your first piece that you want to just wipe down real quick. Your second piece that you'll take a board brush. Mind you, this is a $10 kit. It's called Shooter's Choice. It's for a 9mm. And what I will do, I'll take my board brush first. I'm going to interject and add a video right here. Don't do what my dumb butt does and start handling chemicals and the firearm that may have some of the aftermatter from the explosion of the round that's in there still. You're getting it all over your skin. You're pulling stuff back. It's flying at your face. Put some safety glasses on and some gloves on. Don't do what my idiot self does. I just am used to doing it this way. It's how I've always done it. But really, you should be wearing some eye protection and some hand protection. I'm going to interject and add a video right here. Don't do what my dumb butt does and start handling chemicals and the firearm that may have some of the aftermatter from the explosion of the round that's in there still. You're getting it all over your skin. You're pulling stuff back. It's flying at your face. Put some safety glasses on and some gloves on. Don't do what my idiot self does. I just am used to doing it this way. It's how I've always done it. But really, you should be wearing some eye protection and some hand protection. I'll spritz a little bit of this in there. Do it over the garbage can. I usually would lay something down on top of my mat because I don't want to get the oil and stuff all over in this. That's just me. Okay, I've got some cleaner and stuff in there. It's called CLP. This is a lubricant, cleaner, protectant. And then when I rod this, this has a little twist on the top, so as you're rodding it and you're going through the rifling, actually the rod will turn a little and it doesn't try to fight it. It keeps it with the natural rifling that's in it. So now that I've done that, I'll put that down. Take my board brush out. Now I will grab, I don't have to use this. This right here is a little piece that you can screw into this, and then you could take these little cleaning towels and you can run them down in there and clean them out. I'll show you real quick. Let's do that. Take the corner of it and feed it through there. it's not perfectly clean. I can see stuff coming off. So this is a new kit, so it's more robust than my older kit. So obviously, my older kit was starting to wear out. It's not terrible though. This is another pad in there. This is like a little scrubber pad. And ideally, you'd keep putting pads through this thing until it came out super clean. I'm not getting anything right now. Looks pretty good. I'll be done there for now. Again, this is a Glock. It's an EDC, and it doesn't take a whole lot to keep it clean. So at this point, I'm done with this. I don't need this for anything else. I'm going to put this back in my kit. This is a little thing of CLP that comes with it. It's the same thing that's in this spray can over here of CLP that I got from Break Free. I don't really have a preference. They all work pretty good, to be honest with you. A lot of people like Lucas. A lot of other people like Hops. Just all depends on what you like. Then what you can do is you can take a little CLP. You can put it on like a rag or something if you want. And then you just go around. You just wipe this down. If you haven't used it and you did a thorough cleaning the last time, there's no reason to go back through and do a thorough cleaning. Just wipe down all your critical points, your contact points, kind of getting your slide a little bit, or the lower portion of where the slide goes back and forth. If you really wanted to, you could get up in the magwell here. You could use those Q-tips or something. You could just clean. You see what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning out the cracks and crevices. So if you had some, a lot of people prefer to use gun oil in situations like this. I don't really see the need for it, but you'll take a little thing of gun oil and you'll actually just go put a dab of oil there, a dab of oil there, a dab of oil there, and a dab of oil there, and that's your 4 contact points. Then you, in this area right here that I'm wiping along this slide, you don't want to spray fluid directly in that, because they don't want oil and stuff getting down inside those ports where that firing pin goes back and forth. They want you to just wipe it off. Just whatever I had on that towel was more than enough to just wipe it off and clean that area. And if there's any lubrication effect, it'll get it, but they don't want anything dropped or sprayed right in this area because it will collect moisture, and that's part of the firing pin upper assembly that they don't want oil just sitting in, because again, it attracts dirt. You could go over to this and clean all this out, just wipe it down. If we'll get into a more thorough breakdown of actually pulling all this apart. Then we'll add some upgrades to it and stuff like that. This is just the introductory to the Glock 45 Gen 5 and just how to clean it, how to take it apart kind of thing. Make sure you wipe around in this area where the spring goes, where the barrel goes, nice and clean. Always make sure you get in around the area where your fire pin and stuff is at in here. Okay, no issue there. So again, you did your lower, you did your upper, you did your barrel. That's good. Now just wipe your spring down. Doesn't need any lube. And CLP actually lubricates, so I'm not going to go back and put more oil and stuff on this because there's no need for it. Because if you have oil and stuff, it actually attracts dust. So I use as very little as possible after I'm done cleaning. When I'm done, I'm done. So then barrel goes back in, recoil spring goes back in, just fits right in there, slides right in this little top groove like so, and then line up the back. There's a channel here in the back like so. Good to go. Wipe it down. Don't leave the outside of it oily. You want the outside of it to be like as dry as possible. Clean, but as dry as possible. I have a rule on the outside of the weapon if I'm going to do cleaning to never use a brass brush on the outside. And on the inside, other than the inside of the barrel, I like to use nylon. I don't really like to use brass on the other surfaces that have to move in and out. And that's it. It's cleaned. This mag is clean. I'm not going to clean it again, but if you really wanted to, you can unload this mag, take all the ammo out of it. There's a release button here in the bottom, and as you slide this lower cover off, there's a spring that will pop out, and you can actually clean up inside this mag. Put the spring back in, push it back in, and then force this over. There's actually a tool for this that I'll show you guys later. We're just not into that right now. So, and then when you go in, okay, it's not loaded. We're leaving it like that. Actually, we'll take it out for the duration of this video because I'm about to go to work. And yeah, so that's the introduction to the Glock 45 Gen 5. I like it because it's an easy carrier for me. I'm a big guy. Other people don't like it because it is too bulky. They'd rather have like a 43X or a Canic Micro 9 or something like that, or a SIG of some sort. Me, because I'm a bigger guy, I like more real estate. Believe it or not, the more real estate I have to put my hand inside this here, the more accurate I'm going to be, the longer my actual barrel and slide is, the more I'm going to be on target. The shorter the weapon is, the higher the caliber, the more it's going to recoil and kick on you while you're shooting. I like this. It's the perfect balance between the Glock 17 and Glock 19. And that's it. So this cleaning kit, 10 bucks. This mat, $13. Spray, 13 bucks. You can see the tag on it. I've had this for like 5 years now, and it's still 80%. Like, it's almost full. I'm probably never going to go through this can completely. Yeah, so that's it. It's a full introduction to the Glock 45 Gen 5. Hope you guys liked it. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, let me know. If this is just not your cup of tea, I'm okay with that as well. But I appreciate you, as always. And yeah, have a great day.